Our industry is in full transition, you know that. We are transiting from an industry concentrated on developed markets. Usually the base of the car industry are Europe, United States, Japan, going to emerging markets. Now it's about China, Russia, India, Brazil, Indonesia, you name it. So we are transitioning, and we are car companies trying to move in a certain way headquarters, research centers, production capacity from developed markets and rushing towards emerging markets. Just to give you a statistic, I will not bore you with this, but 10 years ago, 75% of the sales of cars were in the developed market, 25% in emerging market. We have already crossed the 50-50, and we are moving towards the reverse, 25% in developed market and 75% in emerging market, certainly within the next 10 years. When we entered in China in 2002 with Nissan, Chinese market used to have a couple of million cars sold every year. Today, China is selling 18 million cars, and by far the largest market in the world. So we're transitioning. It's a heavy transition where car manufacturers have to deal with two different situations: managing excess of capacity, managing all the workforce into developed market, and rushing and trying to invest massively as soon as possible and localizing operation into the emerging market. And there are waves of emerging market. We always talk about the BRICS, but let's not forget about the next generation coming: Indonesia, Mexico, Vietnam, and all the Middle East, which one day or the other will become also a playing ground for car manufacturers. One of the major growth factor of our industry are people in emerging market who love to buy a car but cannot afford it. I remember when I was a student, people used to ask me, what was your first car? I said, well, this was the only car I could afford to buy. This was my first car. And many people are in this situation within the emerging markets where they dream about a car, they dream about a brand, they end up buying the only thing they can afford to buy. And I think the car manufacturers are going to be able to bring them a car which is not only the oldest one or a used car, but something which is decent, modern, with basic functionality. They're going to be a big winner. And that's why we are engaged into what we call the 3,000 or the ultra low cost car, $3,000 car. And how are we using the skills? We know that we cannot make this car if we're using our engineering based in Japan. We know we cannot make this car if we use our engineering based in France. So we are based our engineering for this car in India, in China. We are using the Indian suppliers. Why? Because frugal engineering is something which is based in the Indian culture. That's where we have to transition our skills. We have to recognize what each country can bring to the world of the global industry and use the skills. It's not a one-way street, it's a two-way street. We bring the technology, we bring the product, we bring the investment, but we extract from each country what each country and each culture can bring to us. This is also transition, moving from a one-way street to a two-way street. And I can tell you the companies who will be able to understand and organize this two-way street, not with one country, but with many countries, are going to be the winners of tomorrow.